What's up, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Fire and Ice NFL Edition, brought to you by Sportstopia. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Steezy A. Smith and Terrell Furman. What's up, guys?
Yo, what up?
What's going on? We here, week 4, baby.
Yeah, week 3's over. That's what I love about this show. Noon on Wednesday. We are fully into the next week at this point. We can put that stuff behind us to a certain extent. I haven't put behind that 4-touchdown game from Achane yet, but most of it's sitting behind us. You know who you got on the waiver wire, and we are getting into our week 4 lineups. We got some good stuff prepped for you today. We are going to run through some of our favorite stacks for the week, and we've had some good ones so far this season. We're going to play a little bit of Fantasy Feud to go over some of the game lines and other props for this week. And then if we got time at the end, we're going to give you some of our favorite player props for this week as well. Before we get into that, though, I did want to ask you guys, did you score any Devin Achane on the waiver wire this week? Terrell, I know you were a little bit more hesitant going in to drop all your fab on him.
No, I didn't. I didn't pay the cost. It was like a crazy cost for him, and I didn't pay it. I'm perfectly fine. We'll see. Maybe I'll get some Jeff Wilson when he comes back and he comes in and steals things away. But I was perfectly good on blowing my entire fab on Achane this week.
Steezy, you pick up any Achane?
Bro, so you know what's crazy? I was going to tell you guys this pre-show, but in my home league, actually I picked him up literally a couple of days before his Sunday explosion. I was just like, because usually what I like to do in some of those, especially in my home league, I like to take dart throws on somebody I think, could potentially just explode. And so at the end of my bench, I'll usually look at somebody that's replaceable, and then I'll pick somebody up with higher upside, on the waiver wire. And so I did that with Achane in my home league. And then in my 16-team half PPR league, I actually already had Achane, and I started him because Austin Eckler was out. And so he single-handedly carried me to victory in week 3. As far as my other leagues, I wasn't able to put up the money, necessary to get him. But I'm just glad that in those 2 leagues that matter the most, I was able to get him.
That's hot. The only league.
Let me get y'all take on something. So I consult for my agent. She is in a fantasy league, and she has been killing them. She was last year's champ.
Okay.
And she did good too. She was last year's champ. She's 3-0 this year. After last week, she sent me a text that she got a trade offer, and they said Deebo Samuel for Raheem Mostert. And she has Deebo. She has Deebo. They have Raheem Mostert. They're trying to acquire Deebo. And I was like, that is insane. They're just throwing fillers out there. So then she started going down the list of, hey, who should I trade to acquire them? And so a couple of names. The other name that was thrown out was Brandon Ayuk. So I want to ask you guys to kick the show off. Brandon Ayuk for Raheem Mostert, are you doing it?
No chance in hell am I doing that move. Brandon Ayuk, in my mind, is the wide receiver 1 there whenever he comes back. And the wide receiver 1 in that 49ers offense is a player that I would like on my team. And there is far too much uncertainty with Raheem Mostert there. With the breakout we just saw from Achane, with Jeff Wilson coming back into the mix, like that is far from close to a surefire RB1. I'm way more confident that Brandon Ayuk could reach that top 12 wide receiver range rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Simon here, make that a part of your 2. I like Mostert. I think he can retain RB1 value for the next couple of weeks, as Jeff Wilson gets acclimated, as Devin Achane gets acclimated. But as far as season long, I'm thinking bigger picture here. You're thinking fantasy playoffs and whatnot. Is Raheem Mostert's role going to be what it is now? I'm not exactly sure. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about, oh, he's injury prone, this, injury prone, that. But that's definitely something to kind of factor in, especially with Achane. I mean, look, like we talked about pre-show, 350 yards rushing against the Denver Broncos, 8.1 yards per carry. Achane had 200 plus in his second game ever in the NFL. I think there's serious potential there. And then again, with Wilson coming back, that's 2 running backs to compete with. And so that RB1 status that Mostert currently has, I don't think it's going to last for long.
That's the same thing I said. I was like, I didn't think that, Mostert, he's cool now, is good now. And if I was the other person, I'd be doing the same thing. Just throw out Mostert fillers and see what sticks, and see if somebody says, hey, I want to get down on a guy that just had 4 touchdowns. But I'm with you all. I told her keep Ayuk and She has Dotson and she has Jones, and I said toss those out there. Zay Jones, that is. I said toss those out there and see what happens. But for the most part, I would just hold on to who you got. You're 3-0.
Terrell, it's funny you brought that trade up because I had to scroll back to find the picture, but my fiance just 3 days ago texted me and said, should I accept this trade? Somebody offered her Gus Edwards and Mecole Hardman for Brandon Ayuk. And it was
What?
this.
Yeah, like it feels like everybody's playing Ayuk. It feels like everybody's playing Ayuk. Like Ayuk is not good. Like I told her definitely don't trade Debo because that's your number one receiver. But Ayuk is still probably like, if anything, they're battle buddies. That's how I deem Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. They're battle buddies. If there's any situation where one or the other is out, the other is absolutely a clear-cut wide receiver one. There's no doubt about it. So they may eat into each other's production when they're both out there. But if Debo is out or if Ayuk is out, you have a clear-cut number one wide receiver for sure.
Well, guys, let's roll into our favorite stacks for this week. I'm going to kick us off today, and I got to shout out the Fantasy Sports Logic's Contrarian Edge Optimizer for mine today. If you guys want to try it out, make sure you scan that QR code on the screen. You can have a 7-day test drive for just $1. And the stack that it gave me this week that I am absolutely loving is this Ram stack. Matthew Stafford plus Tutu Atwell plus Tyler Higbee. And part of the reason I love this, they're going up against the Indianapolis Colts. And when I look back at the Colts games this year, I saw C.J. Stroud throw the ball 47 times against this Indianapolis Colts team and hype up some of those receivers. This Los Angeles Rams team we saw over the weekend is really struggling on the offensive line. And this is a really good this Indianapolis Colts front seven I don't think is going to create as much pressure on Matthew Stafford as the Bengals did, giving him a little bit more time to throw, but they're still going to struggle in that run game. I expect Matthew Stafford to throw the ball similar to how many times C.J. Stroud threw it in that game, 40-plus, approaching 50 times. And if that's the case, give me a couple of his pass catchers, his big play threat and Tutu for a little bit of a discount over Puka, and I'm rolling that way.
Okay, so I like that.
I like it.
I like that.
I think the Higbee piece is a very contrarian to go Higbee instead of Puka. I think if you see a Matthew Stafford stat, it's going to be the two wide receivers. So I like going a little bit different there.
Yeah, Puka on the Contrarian Edge Optimizer definitely had the highest rostership percentage out of all of these guys, even more than Stafford. So maybe edge away a little bit from that, take some points in this game.
Yeah, I think Higbee's had a consistent role, so can't go wrong with that.
He's got to find the end zone. They were trying to get him in the end zone against that Bengals team. We'll see if it can happen this weekend. Who you got for us this week, Steezy?
Man, so we're going to stay in the NFC West and not with the Seattle Seahawks, not with the Arizona Cardinals, but the team that's set to match up against the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers trio of Brock Purdy. I'm blanking. Who are the guys that I wrote down? Christian McCaffrey, CMC, and Debo Samuel. When you look at that Niners offense, look, they're at home against a Cardinals team that was supposed to be the worst in the National Football League. Clearly, they're not, but I don't think they're anywhere near the level of the 49ers. And the last time these two teams have played against each other, the Niners have absolutely smacked them 38-10, I think, both games. And then the Niners have scored 30 in every game this year so far. I think in what's expected to be a blowout, these guys are all going to eat. Purdy, McCaffrey's been eating all year long. When the matchup is right, Purdy's going to eat. Debo, Ayuk, really take your pick. I think Ayuk should be healthy for this one, and Debo is currently dealing with sore ribs, but either or, it really doesn't matter. Or if you want to throw Kittle in there alongside Purdy and C-Mac, you can't go wrong with any of the Niners skill players. I think the matchup is there. A blowout potentially is there. A bunch of points is there. And so if you're looking for a stack this week, look no further than the San Francisco 49ers trio: Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and Debo Samuel / Brandon Ayuk / George Kittle.
Yo, and you saving some real money grabbing Brock Purdy, $5,900 compared to some of those top options. Going to free you up to be able to play a Christian McCaffrey and a Debo Samuel in there. Maybe get some other nice pieces. You're not scratching the sub 4,000 receivers to fill out the rest of that roster.
There you go.
Hey, don't say anything about those sub 4,000 receivers because I love the sub 4,000 receivers. Shout out to my Value Finders article that had KJ Osborne having a good game. He got into the end zone this week.
I bet Ronnie Bell was sub 4,000 last week if you threw him in the lineup.
40-1, Ronnie Bell first touchdown.
Hey!
Wow. It was crazy. It was a crazy hit. Oh man, I'm still on a high from that. That was insane.
Well, I'm digging
All
that one,
right,
Steezy.
I'm gonna close this out here, and I like it. You guys didn't go as chalk as I thought, and I thought that I'd fill in the chalk at this week because there's no way we can't play something on the highest total of the board, and they are expecting this Dolphins Bills game to be fireworks, absolute fireworks, and I understand why everybody is running to take the Dolphins because Tua looks like the National Football League MVP. He does. I'm going to go with the team that's been there, the team that's done that, the team that's run the division for X number of years. Give me Josh Allen stack with Stephon Diggs and Dalton Kincaid
Ooh.
because Dalton Kincaid effectively kind of pushed Knox to the Knox didn't get much burn at all last week, and I thought it was because he was injured. I even had to ask Simon, "Hey, is Knox hurt?" Like I don't remember seeing him on the field at all last week, and I was kind of tuned into that game because I was on the wrong side of Washington plus 5.5, but I didn't remember seeing Knox too many times, and Kincaid just kind of pushed him to. Like it seems like Knox is only going to be a red zone, maybe end zone guy sometimes, but Kincaid's going to get a lot of that work. And so I thought it'd be a nice little way to differentiate that stack by going Allen, who I think can get a rushing touchdown in this game with Diggs, and then throwing Kincaid in there to have a really good week, especially in a week where everybody's talking about Laporta and Musgrave as the top rookie tight ends this week. Dalton Kincaid has something to say. He does.
And he's going to say it this week, man. It's the year of rookie tight ends. I'm digging that one, Terrell, because you're right. When I look at that game, my immediate reaction is Tua, Tyreek. Is Jalen Waddle back in this line? Like, it's to play these Dolphins that we just saw drop 70 points. You're going to get maybe a little bit it's scratch, right? It's a little bit chalk. You're looking at the highest scoring game, but you're on the maybe less picked side of the chalkest game of this setup. And you're right. Steezy and I have been going, we've been the chalk bros for the first couple weeks here.
Yeah,
right.
So
Thank you for taking that.
I held it down.
Appreciate that.
All right. Well, guys, those are your three stacks for this week. We had the 49er stack from Steezy with Purdy, CMC, and Debo. Terrell bringing you that Bills stack with Josh Allen, Diggs, and Kincaid. And I'm bringing you that Rams stack with Stafford, Tutu, and Higbee, avoiding the popular Puka play. Well, guys, we played a little bit last week. Steezy took it out, and you guys were perfect. No one missed a single point available in Fantasy Feud last Wednesday. But we got a new game, and I'm going to be honest. With how much you guys killed it, I upped the difficulty a little bit on some of these prompts. We'll see how you guys do this week.
Okay.
If you have not played this here with us last week, then I'm going to explain how this is going to work. I'm going to propose a prompt, something like name the 7 players with the most rushing yards from week 3, or name the 6 teams favored by the most points in week 4. You guys will buzz in if you think you know one of the names on that list by saying your own name. The first person to buzz in is going to get the opportunity to guess. If the name you said is on that list, you're going to get to play, where you try to name the rest of the players / teams that are available. You're going to have 3 strikes. So you either got to get all of the names left or get 3 strikes, at which point your opponent will have the opportunity to steal. If they can name any of the ones left, they're going to steal all the points. If not, you're going to get all those points, just like if you got every single name on the list. Whoever's got the most at the end of prompt number 4 is our champion for today. You guys ready?
Let's do it,
baby.
Let's do it. Here we go. We're going to start with the first one, and the first one's only got a couple. It's probably the easiest of the bunch. What I want to know is name the 4 teams favored by 6 points or more in week 4, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook. So that is supposed to say
Terrell.
or more. Okay, Terrell is playing.
Eagles.
One moment. The Eagles are correct. They're favored by 8.5 against the Commanders this
Close
week.
your eyes special. Make sure you check out my Vegas lines article, Close Your Eyes Special. I have a good play on that game there. We have the San Francisco 49ers by 14, I believe.
They are favored by 14 against the aforementioned Cardinals.
And we have the Dallas Cowboys. I think it might have dropped to 6.5, but it opened up at 7. They should be favored over the Patriots.
They are still sitting at 6.5. That is 3 correct. No strikes. There's 1 remaining, Terrell, for an early 4-0 lead here.
All right, now I gotta think off the top of my head who is good in the league that's laying a bunch of points this week. Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs laying against the Jets on Sunday Night Football. I think that's at like 10, maybe 9.5 by now.
Steezy made a face like, damn it, he found the one I was thinking of, and that is correct. They're favored by 9.5 against the Jets in New York.
Hey, come on, man. I'm the sports betting guy here.
That's a
Like, I'm not
Right.
gonna miss this.
That's a clean sweep for Terrell. That's going to be 4 points going your way. When we're looking at these 4 heavy favorites in this game, Terrell, so we just mentioned Kansas City Chiefs by 9.5, San Francisco 49ers by 14, Eagles by 8.5, Cowboys by 6.5. Any of these lines jump out at you as one that you're attacking, either on the heavy favorite side or the double-digit dog side for some of these teams?
Yeah, clear cut. It's the Washington Commanders plus 8.5 here.
Yeah.
It's no doubt about it. This is one of my favorite betting systems, and we call it the close your eyes special, where you have a team who underperformed the spread by 21 or more points the week before, and they're catching points the week after. And so you have the Washington Commanders who got absolutely destroyed by the Buffalo Bills, possibly looking ahead to a divisional matchup, but they just weren't outclassed in that game. Sam Howell looked terrible. He threw 4 interceptions, and every single interception was ugly. And so now you have them catching points against a Philadelphia Eagles team that has not performed necessarily to expectation. The offense, I think, is still trying to figure itself out. They have that cheat push play that's kind of been getting them first downs and extending drives for them over the course of the season. But I don't think that the offense is all the way there clicking. They're dealing with some defensive injuries, especially in the slot. So I think that's somewhere that Washington can attack. And again, this betting system 2-0 this season already with the Seattle Seahawks and against the Detroit Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. So yeah, I like the Washington Commanders plus 8.5, sprinkle on the money line here. They got to win in Lincoln Financial last season, so I think they can do it again and make this one a close one.
And that Eagles defense hasn't been quite what we thought it was going to be either necessarily. I'm sure they'll figure it out, but there's been teams that have been able to get things done against this Eagles defense so far this season. Steezy,
I love the front seven. I think the secondary needs work. I love the front seven. Jalen Carter probably going to be defensive rookie of the year. Front seven is really, really good. That secondary needs some work, and especially over the middle of the field where the tight ends are.
Absolutely. Steezy, you like any of these lines? I'm looking at that 49ers Cardinals 14-point favor. You mentioned the Cardinals or the 49ers have dropped 30 points in every game this season. They've beaten them big the past couple times they've played the Cardinals, but I just get hands off on any of these like lines that are that big. I'm too scared to bet on the 49ers to cover, but I'm also looking at this and I'm like, yeah, they could beat them by 30.
Right. See, and it's tough though because it is a divisional, clash. And I know earlier I just talked about how every time, or at least in their last 3 matchups, the Niners have absolutely smacked the Cardinals. But coming off a victory over the Dallas Cowboys, we don't know what this Cardinals team could do. And so I think for me, as far as that game, I'd probably pick the Cardinals to cover. I still expect San Fran to win by at least 10, but as much as 14, probably not. But as far as which game I want to highlight between the 4 that we've talked about so far, I like New England to cover against Dallas. I think right now, 7.5, if I heard correctly, that's a little too much for me.
Sitting down there
6.5.
Yeah.
Right, just about a touchdown. That's still a little too much for me. I think New England, with how pesky they have been, especially defensively, and I know they did pose problems for Philadelphia's offense in week 1. I think they could probably do the same against the Dallas Cowboys in week 4. I still expect Dallas to come out as the victor, but by about a touchdown, nah, I think it's going to be a closer game than that. So I like New England as the underdog.
I think Cowboys fans after last week are all taking New England in that one as well. It was the funniest reaction because no Cowboys fan was like, what the hell? How did that happen? Every Cowboys fan was like, yeah, of course. There it is. I was waiting for it. Exactly. They were like, yep, that checks out. Back to the same old Cowboys. Well, Terrell, you got a 4-0 lead here. We're going to move into our second one here. The difficulty is going to get ramped up a little bit, but we'll see how you guys fare. The next prompt is name the 7 teams that have yet to cover the spread through the first 3 weeks of the season.
Oh, shoot.
So this is either
I'm trying to give you a chance. I'm gonna take it.
You gonna take it? Okay, take it.
All right, the 7 teams that have yet to cover the spread.
And this could be a push or not covering.
Yeah. Yep. So Giants have not covered the spread.
That is correct. That is 1 correct for Terrell.
We have the Vikings who have not covered the spread.
That is correct as well. 2 teams that have not covered the spread.
The Eagles just covered on Monday night. So we have the Broncos who have not covered the spread.
That is true. Surprisingly, they didn't cover the spread this weekend. in that.
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
They only gave us 70 points.
I know.
Yeah.
I had to check.
It was almost there. The Bears haven't covered the spread either.
The Bears have not covered the spread. That is correct. You got 4 of them, no strikes.
Let's see here. Week 1, they did not. Week 2, no, they did cover week 3, so it's not the Chargers. We have the Packers have covered every spread. Who did the Packers play? The Saints. The Saints have not covered the spread.
The Saints have not covered the spread. Nice job, Terrell. That is 5 correct,
right.
2 remaining. You are blowing through these. I thought this was hard.
Hey man, this is the betting guy you're talking to. All right, the Falcons have covered let's see. Have the Jags covered the spread? No, they did cover week 1 against the Colts. But have the Colts covered every single? Yep, they smacked the Texans. We have rolling around that division. The Titans have covered the spread. Vrabel is a home dog. The Lions. No, the Lions did cover the spread against the Chiefs. Is somebody? I said Vikings. I said Bears. I might have cleared that division.
I'm gonna need an answer, Terrell.
I'm gonna throw out I know the Cowboys have covered the spread. No, I'm gonna throw out the Jets. Just throw somebody out there, but they have because they covered week 1. But I'm gonna throw the Jets out there and take a L.
You have got 1 X after that. You knew it as well. You got 2 more shots here to get the last 2 remaining.
Oh man,
Steezy, you got some names ready
Seattle
to steal?
has covered.
I do.
The Cardinals have covered the spread. The Rams have covered the spread in week 1. Dang it. Oh, I'm 2 teams short. Who else is left in that division that I haven't talked about?
What's it gonna be?
The Raiders beat the Broncos. They covered the spread. Oh my gosh. All right.
It's like you know too much now. We're like,
yeah, I know too much. Yeah, it's so much going through my mind. All right, I'm gonna throw out. I know the Texans. The Texans just covered. They beat the crap out of the Jags. I'm blanking. Falcons covered against the Panthers.
The Panthers have not covered the spread. That is correct. You got 6 of the 7.
Yes.
There's 1 left. You got 1 strike.
Okay. So the Panthers haven't covered the spread at all. And who else?
Also, while you're thinking about that, I see a question coming in the chat. We will answer that after this round of Fantasy Feud. So stick around, Dylan. Thanks for popping in.
So the Colts just covered against the Raven. Oh, wait. Is it somebody in the Bengals? No, the Bengals just covered the spread on Monday night. Crap. I am at a loss for words. I can't get the last team. I feel like I've said every team in the league, and I'm trying to think of who has not covered the spread. It's not the Eagles because they just covered on Monday night. So many teams that just covered on Monday night for the first time. I don't know. You got it. I can't give you.
He is giving away 2 strikes there, which means Steezy, if you can name this last team, you are going to steal all 7 of these points. Otherwise, Terrell is going to get 6 of them. Terrell will get 6 if you don't steal for the 6 answers he got right.
Yeah.
If you can name the 7th one, you'll get all 7 points.
Ooh, and I have 3 strikes, right?
You got 1 try since it's a steal.
Oh, okay.
It's like Family Feud rules. When Steve Harvey comes over and everyone starts huddling up and then they give 1 answer is what we got going on here.
That's right. Okay. Because I did have an answer, but right now I kind of want to revisit that just for a second. I'm gonna go. F it. The Chargers.
I'm sorry, it is not the Chargers.
They just covered.
Which
they just covered as 1 point.
Right.
1 point dog.
It is a team that you said out loud, Terrell, that had They had a push on Monday night as they closed as 3-point favorites. The Bengals have not yet covered the spread. It closes 3-point favorites. They push.
The sharp that I am, I got it at Bengals -2, so I wasn't worried. But I understand some people that might have pushed that. Okay. All right. So it is the Bengals.
All right. Well, Terrell, that's a big lead early. Getting some revenge for Steezy's win last week, but there are still 2 more prompts and enough points on the board for anybody to pull this one out. You guys ready for the third one?
Come on.
Let's do it.
Let's get it. Name the 7 teams most favored to be the lowest scoring team on Sunday, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook. So this is the 7 teams with the best odds, most favored to have the lowest point total on Sunday.
Steezy.
Okay, Steezy, let's hear it. We got 7 teams sitting at the bottom of this list.
Okay, so I think I'm answering this correct when I say this, but the Giants.
1 second.
Okay.
The Giants are not on this list. I apologize, Steezy. That is 1 strike. So the bet on the
17.
FanDuel Sportsbook, as it's listed, is
Okay.
the lowest individual point total for a team on Sunday. So this is like the lowest points scored by a single team.
Basically,
on
your
Sunday.
dumpster juice of the week. Who are your trash teams of the week?
Okay, gotcha. And I still have 2 more tries then, right?
Yep, you got 1 strike, but you got 2 more tries here, Steezy.
Okay, let me rock with, I got to rock with the Jets.
The Jets at plus 950 are on this list. Nice job. That is 1 correct, 1 strike.
Okay, and there's 6 teams, right?
7.
Oh, 7, okay. Let me also go with, let me go with Tennessee.
Tennessee is on this list at plus 1,500 to be the lowest scoring team on Sunday.
Okay, let's go with Houston.
Houston is not on this list as one of the 7 teams expected to be the lowest scoring team on Sunday, which means you got 2 strikes here, Steezy.
Ooh, wee. All right, we ain't worried though. Let's go Carolina.
Carolina is not on this list. Which means, unfortunately, that is 3 strikes headed your way. Terrell, Steezy gets 2 points unless you can name any of the other players on this list.
Can I see the board? Which team did he say that he got right?
The Jets and the Titans are the ones that he got right.
It's easy. Arizona Cardinals.
At plus 600, the most favored team, 14-point dogs against the 49ers.
Arizona Cardinals.
The Cardinals are, in fact, the most favored one on that list at plus 600. Terrell, you're stealing those points, and man, you must have been thinking about that loss all week, the way you're racking up points against me today.
Hey, when you throw the betting lines at me, we were talking. I may be up and down with the fantasy. You throw the betting lines at me, and I'm here ready to go. Bro. I have a prime real estate at FanDuel Sportsbook.
He knows what's up there. The other names on this list, you guys want to throw some more names out there, see if you can get them? No points to be earned.
New Orleans?
New Orleans is not on this list.
So you will have what's the lowest total on the board this week? So you kind of want to. So I think the Patriots are on the list.
They are at plus 1,400.
They're pretty sizable dog.
Atlanta?
You want to get all those large dogs.
Atlanta's not on the list, but they are the next team tied with Houston. So Houston and Atlanta are the 2 right outside this range. They are 8 and 9.
Oh, okay.
The Commanders are on the list. Probably.
Commanders are on the list at plus 1,200 here.
And did I do all the large? I think we did all the large favorites. If Tennessee is on the list, because that line is only 2.5. Are the Bengals on the list too?
The Bengals are not, but they're at plus 2,400. The last 2 sitting here, you got a Bengals division.
Hey, real quick, sprinkle a little bit on Bengals 24 to 1. Just sprinkle a little bit, not much, because I do have concerns for that Tennessee secondary. But the front 7 for Tennessee is absolutely dominant. And this Bengals offensive line, I think, is going to have a little bit of troubles with them. And we know that Joe Burrow can't really get too mobile. If they can just guard the short slant routes and those easy little routes that they were giving the Rams the whole way down the field, then I think that this Tennessee team can have a really nice bounce back spot after getting smacked by the Browns. I would sprinkle on the Bengals to be one of the lowest scoring teams here.
Wow.
I like that. 24 to 1. You take those odds. The other 2 teams sitting on there were the Baltimore Ravens at plus 1,500 going up against that Cleveland Browns defense, which has been rock solid so far this year. And then the last one is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers and the Ravens are tied at plus 1,500 along with the Titans. guess they just don't got much faith in that. And the Saints defense, really, that's the last category we were missing is like what have been the premier defenses through a couple weeks of the season.
Saints and the Browns. I mean, the Browns are just cheating. They can bring 8 in the box. They can put 8 in the box because they trust their DBs to cover receivers. You've seen it versus the Bengals and that talented receiving core that the DBs were matching up 1-on-1 and winning. And so if you can stack 8 in the box, that's how Derrick Henry wasn't able to get going this past week. And that's why I think that you should really downgrade the rushers for the Baltimore Ravens because Jim Shorts is out here playing unfair.
Yeah, that might have been the best offseason signing of any team is bringing Jim Schwartz in there to be the defensive.
Can he win Coach of the Year? Can a coordinator win Coach of the Year? Because I think he deserves more credit than Stefanski. I really do.
Yeah, as a Browns fan, it has been weird watching a secondary that I trust. That has not been something I've been used to. We've had
by far the best secondary.
We've had a good corner in the past. You know what I mean? We've had playmakers, but it hasn't been a complete unit, and it's been fun to watch so far. Terrell, you got a big lead here, 13-0, but we got one more prompt left. Before we get into that, our friend Dylan had a question for us. Dylan has a trade offer coming his way. Said somebody wants Tank Dell from him. So should he trade Zay Flowers or Rachaad White, considering the roster that he has? Would you guys take Zay Flowers or Rachaad White for Tank Dell?
Ooh, man. I think I prefer to keep Tank Dell between all three of these guys. But Dylan, you are talking about how he's saying he's a little weak at running back here. Ah, man. See, it's not that I don't like White, but I do think that if you're going to let off a Dell and you need a running back, I would look to acquire another running back. So if the best running back you can get in return is a Rachaad White, I'm holding off and I'm keeping Tank Dell.
Man, I look at this and I don't think your running backs are that bad. It's just fragile at the top. It's pretty top heavy. James Cook has been a nice surprise so far this year, and Tony Pollard's a great back. Should be top 12 at the end of the season. With your receivers, you're doing fine at the running back position. Now you are one injury away from being completely screwed because I don't want to start Khalil Herbert, Tajay Spears, or Elijah Mitchell on a weekly basis right now. But I think I'm holding pat. I'm with you, Steezy. What about you, Terrell?
Yeah, I think I am. And just waiting and see if you can get a better running back for Tank Dell or shop around one of these other wide receivers like Michael Thomas or, just see if you can. I think I see the thought process of wanting to boost and get another bona fide, locked in, really good running back because you have Mitchell, Spears, who are essentially handcuffs. You have Herbert. We don't know what he's going to do. And it seems like Roschon's taking that job. And then James Cook, I've just never been a James Cook guy. I don't like anything that but Buffalo ever puts out at running back.
What?
I think you're pretty all right. Honestly, I think you're okay. I see but Rachaad White, I just can't get behind him right now. I roster Rachaad White, and I'm telling you, you don't want those problems.
I was the biggest Rachaad White fan, maybe of all in the offseason. I was hyping him up like nobody's business, but
I remember that, Simon.
That opportunity is there, but it's not a pretty opportunity.
At least so far. I was gonna say though, if you want Rachaad White, this is what I would do personally. I would do DeAndre Hopkins for Rachaad White straight up. See if that works. If you guys are a fan of that.
Man,
I don't know.
My brain just started screaming at me, and it's because of the name DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like I just know he hasn't figured it out yet. But I'm not ready to give up on arguably one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL. He's a little bit past maybe his prime age and in a run-first offense, but God, man, I hear you, Steezy.
He's had some really tough. He's had some really tough matchups. You look at the beginning of the season. He played the Saints, and then they played who was after that they got that.
Yeah, the Chargers,
and they played the Browns.
Yeah, so they played. So the Chargers game is the one where you're like, man, if there was a DeAndre Hopkins get-off game, it was that Chargers game. But two of those three are really, really good. Talk about Marshawn Lattimore, and then we just talked about how good that secondary for the Browns is. So I think better days are ahead for DeAndre Hopkins. I would hold on for him.
Okay, shoot, I hope so.
Man, me too. My all Clemson wide receiver cores have had better weeks. DeAndre Hopkins not showing up great. Joe Burrow injured, affecting T. Higgins, and now Mike Williams is out for the season. I was feeling hot leaving my drafts with my Go Tigers squad, and now it's T. Higgins standing alone in that starting lineup with an injured Joe Burrow. We got Brad in here with another question for us. Says, do you think giving up Jerome Ford and Amari Cooper for Jonathan Taylor is too much? This is a hefty tag with Amari Cooper. The way this offense is rolling without Nick Chubb, he's going to be the focal point of that.
Are we 100% certain that Jonathan? I rostered Jonathan Taylor in the Dynasty League. Are we 100% certain that Jonathan Taylor's playing when the 4 weeks is up for the IR? That has been my only concern because he carried me last year before he got hurt, and I don't know if he's I don't know if he's playing. Are they trading him? What's going on with the Jonathan Taylor? I think that's the question mark. Whereas Amari Cooper, the only thing you know is that you're going to get half of the good weeks. Other half are going to be bad. He's going to be completely inconsistent, but you're going to get at least 8 good weeks. Are you going to get 8 good weeks with Jonathan Taylor? Is he even going to play?
Man, and without Nick Chubb, I might even up that 8 good weeks to Amari Cooper to like a 60-40 split instead of a 50-50 split with good game, bad game. The focal point of that offense is shifting a little bit. I think I'm with you. There's a little bit too much uncertainty. Now, I think Jonathan Taylor plays. Maybe not on the Colts. Maybe they get a trade done before the deadline. But the way that that agreement with the Players Association and the NFL is, he's losing way too much money by sitting out games and sitting out practices to not start showing up. But he doesn't want to play for the Colts. I don't think the Colts want him playing there necessarily. They're getting things done with Zach Moss just
Which
fine.
Is crazy. It's just crazy because I think Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson is a match made in heaven, and I was so excited to see that this season.
I'm with you. I'm holding Cooper and Ford, I think, and just rolling that way. But I get it. That the upside play is on the Taylor side because Taylor could just come back and be the best running back in the league. Taylor could be traded to the Browns, and all of a sudden, Amari Cooper's value isn't what we thought it was.
Yeah. I think that, and that could very much happen. I think that if I'm in Dynasty, I would consider this more, but season long, I'm good.
What about you, Steezy? You making this move?
Man, see, I was thinking about it, but I think I'd have to hold off just like you guys. I think there's just too much uncertainty revolving around Jonathan Taylor. I do believe he'll play, though. Whether it's for the Colts, I don't know. I just think right now, though, with Amari Cooper, I mean, Simon, like you talked about, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's gotten 7+ targets in every game this season so far, and his productions only continue to increase with each progressing week. With Nick Chubb still not there, and obviously not going to be there for the rest of the season. I think Amari Cooper is a low-end wide receiver 1/high-end wide receiver 2. Jerome Ford, probably more of an RB3/flex play. Jonathan Taylor is going to obviously be a running back 1 when he comes back, but I don't know. There's just so many different variables there. If you're weak at receiver, hold on to Amari Cooper especially. But if you have a couple receivers to burn and you have a need at running back, shoot, go for the trade. I think that's my answer.
Get it done. Well, we got a couple more in here as well, guys, that we're going to hit before we get back into our game. Sean had a trade for us, said, I'm 0-3 and looking for a changeup. I got offered Eckler, James Cook, and Waddle for Jefferson, Najee, and Dameon Pierce. What do y'all think? Terrell, when you're looking at this, which way you rolling?
Who
got offered Eckler, James Cook, and Waddle for Jefferson, Najee, and Dame. I mean, I just have I have a hard time trading Justin Jefferson for anybody, any situation, any group trade. I really have a hard time trading Justin Jefferson. I understand Najee and Dameon Pierce, and you want to kind of get those out there. Jefferson really, really sweetens the pot to get those guys out of here. But I'm not big on Buffalo running backs. Buffalo running backs have never really hit that next gear. And if you have Najee, I'm assuming that you're probably going to be starting James Cook and looking for close to RB1 production. And I just can't remember the last time that Buffalo running backs have given you consistent RB1 production. So, yeah, you get Eckler in there. When he comes back, he's going to be good. I think it's okay. I think it's okay, but I really just have I don't think that I'd be okay with myself if I traded Justin Jefferson and then ended up playing Justin Jefferson and he goes off on me for 30+ fantasy points. Like, it's tough. It's tough.
Steezy, you making this move?
I got to, bro. I mean, look, you're 0-3 right now. Playoff chances looking real slim. You've had Jefferson, and you're still winless entering week 4. And so, Terrell, I understand the concerns. I'd rather not trade Justin Jefferson, but if that's what it's going to take for me to offload Dameon Pierce and Najee Harris, who are just – these guys are just – and I'm not talking about in real life, but in fantasy terms, these guys are mid, if even that. And so I I'd rather get rid of the mid, that's reeking on my bench because I'm not starting any of those guys, right? And so if I'm getting an Eckler, I'm starting him. Terrell, I'm higher on James Cook than you are, and I think Simon is too. I understand the concerns with Buffalo Bills and their usage of running backs, but James Cook's easily the most talented running back they've had in the Josh Allen era. And so we've already seen that this year. He's had multiple 100-yard games. I'm comfortable with him starting that running back as opposed to Dameon Pierce or Najee Harris. And then the Jalen Waddle. I mean, once he comes back, this Miami Dolphins team put up 70 without him. And so once they're clicking on all cylinders with him in the fold, I think he'll definitely pay off. If you could get a better receiver than a Waddle, I know there's not too many out there that are better than a Waddle, then probably go for that. But yeah, you're 0-3 right now. You definitely need to change things up. Eckler should be back, if not this week, after the bye. And so you're going to get back comparable production anyway once he returns. And you upgrade at both running back spots. I'm making this deal.
Man,
is there any concern for Waddle and Eckler potentially not playing this week and dealing with injuries?
Exactly what I was going to say there, Terrell. I'm sitting there in between you guys because I want to slam accept on this so hard. It's a slight downgrade from Jefferson to Waddle. If everyone's healthy and we're looking at this, you got that downgrade there. It's clear, but it's not huge. But I like both the running backs better than the running backs that they're throwing at me. But if I'm 0-3, I'm not sure I'm trading for two injured players. I'm not sure I can eat that on my team unless there's a little bit more clarity. Oh, but I want to. Because, Steezy, I'm sitting there probably more in line with you and how you're valuing these guys. But at 0-3, you can't make a trade like this if they're not going to play in week 4.
Here's my thought process on this one. Would you trade Justin Jefferson for those 3 straight up?
A 1 for 3? Easily. If you're 0-3, you got to.
No, but I'm just if they were in a vacuum, they didn't say anything about Najee or Dameon Pierce. Would you trade Justin Jefferson for Eckler, Cook, Waddle? Like, would you think that's a fair trade if you made that decision? Or would you say, oh man, the person that traded 3 is getting swindled?
Man, I'd say it's fair. I mean, because like I talked about, Eckler and Justin Jefferson are comparable. Obviously, Eckler's gonna, once healthy, they're comparable. Obviously, he's probably gonna fall a couple slots below Justin Jefferson, and then you add who I think is a back end RB1 / high end RB2 in a Cook, and then a back end wide receiver 1 / high end wide receiver 2 in a Waddle. Yeah, I'd make that trade.
I think the only reason it's fair is for a player like Jefferson, a player like Kelsey and Superflex, a player like Mahomes, like Tua, you have to overpay. Overpay is fair. The value can't add up because a single player like that, you got to pay the package discount, right? Like you're throwing some pieces together to reach to it. Yeah, it's an overpay, but that's what market rate is for Justin Jefferson, is more than he's worth on your fantasy team.
And so that's what makes me think that I feel like you can get a little bit more, because I think it'd be a really good conversation if you took Najee and Dameon Pierce out of this in general and just said those 3 for Justin Jefferson. Your 2 injured players, while they may be good, they get injured all the time. They're dealing with injuries. And James Cook, who looks very, very good right now, but we've seen it so many times. People get off to a hot start, and then next thing you know, you're not getting any production from them. I think it's a good conversation with just Jefferson for those 2. So if you add Najee and Dameon Pierce, despite how mid they have been early on in fantasy, I feel like you can get just a little bit more for this deal from the other side, even though Waddle and Eckler are already on the other side.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, just the psychology of it. Even putting names like Najee and Dameon Pierce next to Justin Jefferson probably devalues him a little bit in the eyes of the person receiving the trade.
Yeah, like even if it's just one more player, like it just feels like it's just, if I'm trading away Justin Jefferson, I want to feel like I got a haul. Yeah. I want to feel like I walked out like the Seattle Seahawks when they pushed out Russell Wilson. I want to feel like I got an absolute haul and my organization is great. Do I feel like that 100% with this? Almost. I feel like there's something missing. I don't know what it is, though.
But real quick, do you think that it's addition by subtraction by letting go of anchors that are Najee Harris and Dameon Pierce? I mean, because these guys have struggled to even put up 10 on a weekly basis. And if you have both those guys at running back, they're probably your 2 best options at running back. And so I think if anything, in that trade, for Justin Jefferson, he's kind of coming along with an anchor, like literally on his back, because he has 2 guys dragging him down.
You just throw the bomb of Najee into your opponent's lineup.
Right?
Najee Najee, I'm slightly higher on because I think he's had a really, really tough start of the season. To start the season versus the 49ers and the Browns is really, really brutal. And you can't take away the fact that he's probably beat up after those two teams. And that's probably why some of that production in that Rams game wasn't exactly where you wanted. A little bit, I think Najee still has a chance. Damian Pierce, no shot. I don't think that's even in the offense. No shot. But Najee Harris has a chance of being still being good. And that goes into a little bit of the next question. Who would you rather trade if I had to trade one of Najee or Pierce with Jefferson? I would trade Pierce. I think Najee still has a chance to potentially be good, but again, Pierce has no shot to be.
I'm with you guys. It's Pierce. One more in here from our friend 32-Bit. Had a series of 2 trades go down. I'm going to read you guys the final results, and he wants to know how he did. So after the 2 trades, it ended up being trading away Rachaad White, Bryce Young, Garrett Wilson, Michael Thomas, and Marquise Brown for Aaron Jones, T. Higgins, and Jerry Jeudy. Steezy, how you feeling about this? Do you like the end results?
Whoa, okay, hold on. So when you initially had brought this trade up to me via text, the details were a little different. And so now that I'm reading the updated version, that's a lot. But you know what? I don't think it's too bad of a haul because, I mean, we're all down on Rachaad White. Bryce Young is hurt. Garrett Wilson's value is obviously cratered. Michael Thomas, he's been decent. He's been good, but you're getting upgrades at wide receiver. Marquise Brown is more hit or miss. I'm going to say I think he won that trade.
My dynasty brain kicked in right away, and my dynasty super flex, and I was like, what? How could you pop? But in redraft, I think this makes sense. It would be way too much in dynasty with Garrett Wilson on that left side, but with Aaron Rodgers out for the season and the way Zach Wilson's been playing and the bizarre commitment to Zach Wilson that the Jets seem to have after this couple of weeks, I like the other side of this. I like the Aaron Jones, T. Higgins, and Jerry Jeudy side. What about you?
More upside.
I think it's just Aaron Jones that's really pulling that side for me because it looks kind of lukewarm when you look at it. Take away Aaron Jones, and you have T. Higgins with the Joe Burrow who can't throw the ball 10 yards downfield. And you have Jared Jeudy with Russell Wilson who's giving the ball to guys like Marvin Mims and literally everybody else, spreading the ball to everybody in the offense. Jared Jeudy probably could be better as the year goes on.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson, I think, is a good move now if you need to win now. Because I think Garrett Wilson is going to be a player that's better towards the end of the season when that schedule gets a lot softer. Michael Thomas, I think, is actually going to have a pretty solid year, but the Derek Carr injury is concerning. Yeah, I think this is actually pretty fair. Hollywood Brown, I mean, you're never going to start him when you need to start him. Like you're not going to start him when you need to start him. Bryce Young sucks, and Rachaad White is terrible.
Was it Terrell? Was that you yesterday who said the reason the Panthers drafted Bryce Young was to tank for Caleb Williams?
I'm about 75% positive at this point. How it's going. That they are 100%. They went up, traded for Bryce Young just so they made sure they had a bad season so they could go get Caleb.
They drafted their backup the year before.
About 75% there.
Man. Well, 32-Bit, thanks for that question coming in there. We got one more round of this game of Fantasy Feud. Terrell's got I'm going to be honest with you. You can't catch him, Steezy, but you can save some dignity on this last one. You can get on the board right here. Here is your last prompt for the game. Buzz in by saying your name if you want to play. Name the 8 players most favored to lead the league in rushing yards, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Steezy.
Okay, Steezy's in. 8 players most favored to lead the league in rushing yards.
Okay, so let's go. Christian McCaffrey.
Sitting at plus 260.
Let's go with Bijan Robinson.
Sitting at plus 700. Nice job. That is 2 correct. No strikes.
Okay, let's go with Tony Pollard.
Sitting at plus 700 as well. Just going down the list. Nice job. That is 3 correct.
Okay, let's go with shoot. Oh shit!
You flew through this first 2, then you're like, oh, and here's the glob.
Okay, this one's gonna be a little bit of a dart throw, but let's go with Ken Walker.
With who?
Ken Walker.
Ken Walker is on the list at plus 2,000. Nice job.
All right, let's go. Is that 4 so far?
That is 4 correct so far. You've got CMC, Bijan, Tony Pollard, and Kenneth Walker. No strikes.
No strikes. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with. I know he's injured. I know he's injured, but he could still find himself, on this list. Perhaps Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler is not on the list,
Ah,
unfortunately.
okay, okay. All right. Shoot, I know he's been underperforming, but let's go with Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry at plus 750 is on this list. They're still respecting the king in the sports books. Nice job. That is one strike. If you're Austin Eckler guess, you got 5 right, though. There are 3 remaining.
Okay. And then let's go with. Ooh, this one's gonna sound crazy, but he has been on a tear, so perhaps Vegas is looking at this. But DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift tied with King Henry at plus 750 as well to lead the league in rushing yards. Nice pull, Steezy. That is
All
6
right,
correct. There are 2 remaining, 1
two
strike.
remaining. Okay, you know what? I know he's been off to a horrid start, but let's see if they're giving the defending Russian champ some love. Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, unfortunately, is not in the
Ah,
top 8. That is 2 strikes. You got 1 more strike left.
okay. Man, I know he's injured too, but I think the list of running backs is slowly dwindling. I'm gonna have to go with Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley is not listed there. He's sitting
Oh,
down at plus
Oh, wow.
6,500. Austin
Wow.
Eckler at plus 6,000 was the other one you listed. And then what was the last one you said? Josh Jacobs? He's at plus 3,000. Did not make the list. There are 2 remaining. Steezy,
oh.
these 6 points are yours unless Terrell can name one of the last 2 left on the board.
Hey, just a second though, y'all.
Okay. Let's see here.
So to run through the
Kind
names
of.
we got already, it's Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, and Kenneth Walker. There's 2 more left.
Okay. Part of me feels like that it's only right if I say James Cook because he has 200-yard games already. They might be drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, even though I don't like James Cook and I don't think he'll be even close. Aaron Jones missed some time already. Bijan's up there. They wouldn't put Tyler Algier up there. I don't like anything else in the north. I don't like anything else. I am going to say I'm just going to go with the guy that's had 200-yard games already. Maybe they're drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't think so, but James Cook.
James Cook is sitting at plus 3,000, tied with Josh Jacobs, just outside of
Just
these tops.
outside
That
the
was a
list.
great guess, though. These last couple were a little surprising to me. Steezy's going to get how many points on that one? 6 points on that, making the final score of this game 13-6. Terrell, you got that dub this week.
Mm-hmm.
But the other 2 sitting here, Travis Etienne at plus 2,000.
I was thinking of, and I didn't want to go there. Okay.
And then the last one, James Conner is sitting at plus 2,000 as the
What?
last player on
I'd
this
never
list.
got James Conner. You could have sat here with me all day, and I never would have said James Conner.
Yeah, the next names here all sitting at plus 2,500. So ahead of James Cook, ahead of Josh Jacobs, all shocked me as well. We got Brian Robinson Jr., Joe Mixon, and then the 2 Dolphins running backs, Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, both sitting at plus 2,500 yards as well.
Wow.
Nuts. If you do you guys like the numbers on any of these guys? CMC sitting there at plus 260, but it's pretty long odds for everybody else. 7-1 for Bijan Robinson and Pollard. Close to that for Henry and Swift. And then we're talking 20-1 for Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, and James Conner.
Man, I think if there's a dart throw there, it'd be Ken Walker. I just think that with everybody else that you list down there with Bijan Robinson, they're just not even using them enough. And look, what's up with the Atlanta Falcons drafting playmakers and not? I mean, we talked about this weeks ago, right? They love drafting guys in the top 10 only to not use them enough. And so I don't think there's high hopes there. Obviously, the talent is there, but yeah, as far as all those other guys, it should be Christian McCaffrey. But if there's a dart throw, give me Ken Walker.
Terrell, that James Cook guess, the more I'm looking at it, the more I think it should be up there. He's got the 3rd most rushing yards in the league through 3 weeks behind only Christian McCaffrey and DeAndre Swift, who are sitting at 1 and 2 on that list, and we're both mentioned here. I'm a little bit surprised they're not giving a little more respect to James Cook.
I mean, it goes with my handicap of James Cook earlier. He just got off to a fast start, but we know how Buffalo utilizes the running back position, and they prefer to use Josh Allen a lot more than any running back that they've ever rostered over the past few years. So I'm not surprised at it. I'm kind of glad that it wasn't up there because it would really made me mad if I guessed James Cook and it was up there because I'm so down on James Cook. But I think the Derrick Henry one is interesting because it's probably because he had the 20, and we haven't had Derrick Henry rushing for the 100 yards yet this season. But again, New Orleans and Cleveland, 2 of the first games he's had this season. That's a very, very tough sledding. Next, things open up and get a lot easier for the Titans. They have the Bengals coming up this week, and then after that, you get the Colts, the Ravens, the Falcons, the Steelers. Like
It's
some of
looking
these
much better
teams,
for Derrick Henry.
it's going to be a lot brighter. I'm somebody that has Derrick Henry in season long. I'm not willing to trade him away because I know things are going to open up a lot more for him. And one, Tannehill sucks, and everybody actually, I'm pretty sure that quarterback room, if we sat there and we stacked up that quarterback room with the Alabama quarterback room right now, and it's not too much of a big difference. Both of these quarterback rooms are really, really bad. So I think Derrick Henry is going to get all the workload coming on in the future, especially when the Titans start winning games and say, hey, we might be in it for the division.
And to Terrell's point here, JK had a question for us real quick before we go. I know we're running low on time. Wanted to know if we would trade Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper for Jamar Chase and Travis Etienne. Absolutely not, in my mind. This is way too much to give up because of a slow start for Derrick Henry. Jamar Chase is dealing with Joe Burrow's struggles. Travis Etienne I like, but that's comparable to Derrick Henry alone. So you're trading away Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, 2 potential wide receiver ones for Jamar Chase, who is dealing with Joe Burrow's struggles. I can't do it, man. What about you guys?
Literally the same logic. I mean, you're getting, I guess, the best player in the deal in a Jamar Chase, but then, like you said, having 2 wide receiver ones and then a running back one for 1 wide receiver one and a running back one. I don't think the math adds up.
Nah. All right, well, guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Terrell.
No, I'm just saying math, not mathing.
Math, not mathing. It's not happening. Hope that was helpful, JK. That is going to be it for us today, everybody. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. But in the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to Sportstopia HQ on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram so you're not missing any of the other sick shows they got going on, helping you guys out, winning some of your leagues and getting those sick lineups ready to go. Until next week, though, we're out of here. Good luck in your Week 4 matchups. Adios, everybody.
Peace.